Libya, with no rivers and barely any rain, built a 2,500-mile underground river tapping water from a 20,000-year-old aquifer, all without foreign loans. Once called the eighth wonder of the world, it still flows today. But with war, sabotage, and climate extremes, the question now is, how long can it last? Let's dive in. Spanning across North Africa like a scorched plain, Libya is more than 90% desert. But this isn't just any stretch of sand. It's the Sahara, the largest and hottest desert on the planet. From above, it stretches endlessly, a harsh expanse of wind-blasted rock and sun-baked sand. But for the 7 million people who call Libya home, this isn't just a landscape. It's a daily fight for survival. There isn't a single permanent river flowing through Libya. Instead, the nation depends on dry stream beds known as wadis. These channels flood briefly, only after rare and sudden storms, then vanish just as fast. According to the World Bank's most recent data, fewer than 5% of Libyan lands receive more than 4 inches of rainfall per year. The rest? Bone dry. Desolate. Because the country's interior is virtually uninhabitable, nearly 80% of Libya's population lives compressed along a thin Mediterranean coastline. Here, cities like Tripoli, Benghazi, and Sirte survive on sporadic rain, aging infrastructure, and overcrowded water trucks. But even these coastal hubs are running dangerously low on water. As of early 2025, the World Resources Institute ranked Libya 6th worldwide for baseline water stress, a category that signals severe and immediate freshwater scarcity. This isn't just a warning sign. It's a full-blown emergency. Libya's crisis runs deeper than just the climate. It's a tangled mix of geography, political instability, and decades of crumbling investment. The desert was always here. But now, intensifying heat, a growing population, and limited resources have pushed the country to the edge. And yet, here's the twist. There is water. Not a trickle, but vast reserves of it, trapped far below the burning surface. Accessing it and moving it? That's a challenge on a whole new scale. But that's exactly where this story begins. Just when Libya's struggle with drought seemed irreversible, a discovery buried deep beneath the sand rewrote the nation's future. It all began in the year 1953. Oil exploration teams were drilling in Libya's remote southern desert, far from any settlements. Their mission was clear: strike oil, power development, and push the country into a new industrial era. As heavy drills carved into ancient layers of sandstone, the machinery suddenly roared, the ground rumbled, and to the crew's shock, out surged a powerful stream of cold, gushing from the depths of the Sahara. At first, the crew thought it was a one-off accident. But deeper surveys revealed the truth: they had tapped into a massive subterranean aquifer. What they'd struck was part of the Nubian sandstone aquifer system, today recognized as one of the largest underground reservoirs of ancient groundwater on the planet. According to the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization's Water Security Report, the Nubian aquifer covers more than 770,000 square miles, spreading beneath Libya, Egypt, Sudan, and Chad. It holds an estimated 39 quadrillion gallons of water. That's enough to fill over 1.4 billion Olympic swimming pools. Even more astonishing, this water is prehistoric. Scientists date its origins to over 20,000 years ago, back when the Sahara was a lush landscape dotted with rivers, lakes, and grasslands. Since then, the water has remained sealed below ground, untouched, beneath layers of rock and sand. For Libya, this wasn't just a scientific breakthrough, it was a national lifeline. But it came with a daunting challenge. The aquifer lies deep in the desert's core. Meanwhile, nearly all Libyans live along the faraway Mediterranean coast, hundreds of miles to the north. The question was urgent: How do you deliver this buried water to the people who need it most? That single question launched one of the most ambitious infrastructure efforts in modern history, a plan to build a vast underground river, a network of buried pipelines that could transport fossil water across the desert. But at the time, many dismissed it as a fantasy. The discovery of ancient water beneath the Sahara didn't just shift the course of geology, it ignited one of the boldest infrastructure dreams of the 20th century. That vision belonged to Muammar Gaddafi, Libya's ruler at the time. By the early 1980s, Gaddafi wasn't just governing, he was shaping what he believed would be a lasting legacy. And for him, this hidden aquifer wasn't merely a resource. It was a symbol of national destiny. He called it the Great Man-Made River, a title he claimed belonged to what he called the eighth wonder of the world. According to the General People's Committee for Water Resources, the project was designed to deliver more than 2 billion liters of fresh water each day. That water would travel from fossil aquifers buried deep beneath Libya's southern desert to the country's heavily populated northern coast, where cities were dangerously close to running out of water altogether. But this wasn't just a matter of laying pipes. Gaddafi envisioned a colossal subterranean system, an underground river stretching over 2,500 miles. Engineers were tasked with drilling wells more than 1,600 feet deep, then connecting them with massive concrete pipelines, each one wider than a freight truck. These pipes would carry water across harsh terrain, through burning sand, bedrock, and shifting desert. For Gaddafi, this project was more than engineering. It was political. He saw it as a declaration of independence from both regional water suppliers and Western influence. He refused foreign loans and insisted Libya would fund the project entirely on its own. In a defiant national address in the year 1986, broadcast to every corner of Libya, Gaddafi said, "They give us weapons, but not water. We will build our river, and the desert will bow before it." The message struck a chord. In many rural communities, hope began to grow. Still, as momentum built, so did the questions. Could a mega-project of this scale survive the desert's wrath, the political turmoil, and the financial burden? Before we continue, I have a special 10-second request for all of you listening. If you can help me in any way, just press the notification bell and hit that subscribe button. It means the world. It really supports this channel. And if you do that for me, I promise my team and I will do everything we can to make this show even better for you. Deal? What came next stands as one of the most staggering engineering undertakings of the modern era. A mega project so vast and logistically intense that global experts once dismissed it as impossible. More than 13,000 water wells, each one drilled over 1,600 feet into the desert floor, were scattered across Libya's remote south. From there, a sprawling network of buried pipelines stretched over 2,500 miles. For context, that's roughly the same distance as crossing the entire United States from coast to coast. Every pipe section was a giant 13 feet wide and heavier than a fully loaded transport truck. As reported by the Great Man-Made River Authority, more than 250,000 of these colossal pipe segments were manufactured and laid. The cement alone totaled 5 million metric tons, enough to construct the equivalent of 20 full-scale Great Pyramids of Giza. But this wasn't just a utility system. It was a river without a surface, an invisible lifeline buried beneath the sands, pumping water silently through one of the world's most extreme climates. Construction kicked off in the mid-1980s. Work crews rotated in relentless cycles, operating in isolated desert camps where temperatures routinely soared beyond 113 degrees Fahrenheit. Supplies had to be airlifted or hauled in by convoys. Living conditions were tough, but the determination is unshakable. Each stage of the project brought fresh technical challenges. Engineers had to precisely align kilometer after kilometer of reinforced concrete tubing. They constructed massive underground reservoirs, lined with asphalt to prevent evaporation, beneath layers of sun-blasted terrain. Reservoirs like Omar Makar and Al Gharabiya were carved deep into bedrock and sealed with precision, capable of holding billions of gallons of water. Over time, these reservoirs became more than storage sites, they became monuments of resilience and symbols of hope. After years of battling searing heat and shifting sands, Libya's underground river was finally ready to expand. What began as an ambitious dream was steadily transforming into a nationwide water network, unfolding through carefully planned, large-scale phases. The first phase, launched in 1983, focused on drawing water from the Tazirbu and Sarir aquifers in the southeast. By the time the system reached Benghazi in 1991, engineers had drilled hundreds of deep wells, laid more than 250,000 reinforced concrete pipe sections, and constructed a double pipeline stretching nearly 1,000 miles. This network delivered up to 528 million gallons of water per day, providing a vital alternative to dwindling coastal aquifers and water trucks. The second phase pushed westward with a clear mission: to supply Tripoli, home to over 1 million residents. By 1996, a new pipeline boosted daily capacity by another 660 million gallons, extended service to cities like Misrata and Tarhuna, and brought hundreds of new wells online in the Jabal al-Hassana region. For the first time, Libya's east and west were connected by a single, integrated water system. According to the United Nations Economic and Social Council's Infrastructure Bulletin, this development reduced Tripoli's dependence on desalination plants by over 70%. The third phase, completed in 2009, focused on expanding reach and capacity even further. It extended the pipeline network by an additional 745 miles, increased total system output to over 972 million gallons per day, and brought clean water to underserved regions like Tobruk through the construction of a new reservoir and another 300 miles of pipeline. This stage wasn't just about expansion, it transformed access to water in remote communities that had waited for decades. Which phase do you think had the biggest impact, east, west, or expansion into the interior? Let us know in the comments. Your insights help us tell better stories. According to the Libyan Ministry of Planning's infrastructure report, the total cost of the Great Man-Made River project is estimated between $20 billion and $25 billion. That figure covers everything, from drilling and construction to reservoir development, pipe manufacturing, and long-term system maintenance. And yet, when compared to the energy-intensive and expensive desalination systems used in other water-stressed nations, Libya's underground river stands out as significantly more affordable and far more energy efficient over time. What makes it even more remarkable is this: Libya funded the entire project without borrowing a single dollar from foreign lenders. During Muammar Gaddafi's leadership, the country financed the construction entirely through domestic oil revenue. There were no international investors, no loans from the World Bank, no financial conditions imposed by the International Monetary Fund. For millions of Libyans, the true cost wasn't counted in billions. It was counted in something far more personal: freedom from thirst. The Great Man-Made River was originally built to connect a divided landscape and supply life to every corner of Libya. But after the fall of Muammar Gaddafi in the year 2011, that same system was dragged into a new kind of battle, one not against the desert, but against civil unrest and war. As Libya fractured into competing factions, the river became more than infrastructure, it became a strategic asset. In 2015, a wave of airstrikes struck the Brega pipe production plant, the country's main factory for producing the massive concrete cylinders essential to pipeline expansion. The results were devastating. Production came to a halt, and critical repairs were stalled for years. By 2019, The Libyan Infrastructure Oversight Committee documented the toll. More than 100 wells in western Libya had been dismantled or destroyed. Entire sections of the network were either damaged or shut down. And some armed groups used control over water flow as a political weapon, cutting supply to areas held by rival forces. What was once designed to carry life across the desert had now become a symbol of division. Ongoing instability brought more complications. Routine maintenance became impossible. Widespread power outages, looted control stations, and unsafe conditions for workers meant the system could no longer operate at full capacity. According to the World Health Organization's report on water and sanitation in conflict zones, Libya's Great Man-Made River is now classified as one of the most fragile water supply systems in all of North Africa. For families living in the western regions, the consequences have been immediate: interrupted access, rising health risks, and uncertainty over every drop of water that still flows. Despite years of conflict, sabotage, and neglect, the Great Man-Made River is still flowing. Against all odds, through fractured pipelines, damaged infrastructure, and political gridlock, this engineered lifeline continues to deliver water to Libya's coastal cities and scattered desert communities. The Libyan Water Resources Authority reports that the system is running at only partial capacity, supplying approximately 660 million gallons of water per day. That's roughly 1/3 of the volume it was originally built to deliver. Today, the greatest threat to the system isn't structural, it's political inertia. There is still no unified national water strategy, no central plan to manage operations, modernize equipment, or invest in long-term maintenance. Without that, the future of the world's largest underground water network remains deeply uncertain. According to the World Bank's Fragile Infrastructure Report, the Great Man-Made River is now listed as critically vulnerable. The report warns that, within the next 5 years, power shortages, poor coordination between authorities, and a lack of financial investment could lead to widespread regional shutdowns. Even the basic tools used to manage the system, flow meters, pressure gauges, and control software, are now outdated or inoperable in many locations. And yet, for most Libyans, the river is still essential. It currently connects over 70% of the population to water, even if that connection is now unreliable and inconsistent. It's no longer a symbol of triumph. It's a fragile miracle. While the Great Man-Made River continues to operate beneath the sands of the Sahara, its most pressing challenge lies not on the surface but deep underground. The water it draws is not part of any renewable cycle. It doesn't replenish with rainfall. It doesn't return season after season. This is fossil water trapped beneath layers of ancient rock for tens of thousands of years, sealed there since the last ice age. According to the Global Groundwater Assessment by the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, the Nubian Sandstone Aquifer, the primary source feeding the Great Man-Made River, has virtually no measurable recharge rate. At current extraction levels, scientists warn that usable reserves could begin to drop significantly before the end of this century. Some experts caution that the river itself may not survive beyond the year 2100. This leaves Libya facing a stark choice: continue drawing from a non-renewable source, or begin shifting toward alternatives such as large-scale desalination. But desalination is no simple solution. Although Libya benefits from some of the highest solar energy potential on Earth, thanks to the Sahara's year-round sunlight, scaling up solar-powered desalination would require enormous investment, a stable government, and long-term national planning. As of now, the country lacks all three. Should countries be allowed to rely on non-renewable groundwater? Or is it time to rethink water use altogether? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe and follow the channel to discover more interesting things. After decades of depending on a shrinking reserve of ancient groundwater, Libya now stands at a critical crossroads: continue extracting fossil water from beneath the Sahara, or pivot toward a new solution powered by one thing the country has in overwhelming abundance: sunlight. Libya ranks among the sunniest countries on Earth. According to the Solar Atlas by the International Renewable Energy Agency, the nation receives more than 3,000 hours of sunlight annually, especially across its expansive Saharan landscape. This makes Libya exceptionally well suited for solar-powered desalination. While traditional desalination, removing salt from seawater, is proven and widely used in countries like Saudi Arabia and Israel, it typically depends on fossil fuels or nuclear energy. Libya, facing energy constraints and economic challenges, cannot afford to rely on those methods at scale. However, channeling just a fraction of that solar potential could change everything. A feasibility report from the Libyan Ministry of Renewable Energy estimates that solar-powered desalination facilities along the Mediterranean coast could eventually produce up to 400 million gallons of potable water every day. That would be enough to supply major urban centers without extracting a single drop from the underground aquifer. Still, the path forward is steep. Building such infrastructure demands billions of dollars in investment, a skilled workforce, and coordinated national leadership, resources that remain scarce in a country still recovering from prolonged instability. Meanwhile, time is running out. Each year spent in political deadlock brings the nation closer to irreversible groundwater depletion. Yet there are signs of progress. In 2024, Libya launched its first pilot solar desalination facility near the city of Misrata. Backed by a public-private partnership with European technology firms, the plant produces around 5 million gallons of water per day. It's not large, but it is real, and it could mark the beginning of a new era, one powered not by fossil water but by the sun. As Libya explores solar-powered desalination, one final chapter of the Great Man-Made River is now underway, Phase 5. Approved by the Libyan Water Authority in December 2024 after years of delays. Phase 5 marks the largest and most technically complex expansion since the early 2000s. According to the 2025 National Infrastructure Bulletin, it includes over 930 miles of new pipeline, and added 660 million gallons of water per day, and 420 new wells south of Kufra and east of Sarir, targeting untapped sections of the Nubian aquifer. This phase is about more than volume, it's about equity. For decades, regions in eastern and southern Libya, including areas near Al-Jagbab and the remote northeast, were left out of earlier stages. Many communities still depend on water trucks or unreliable local sources. Phase 5 aims to bring them clean, consistent access. But the engineering challenge is steep. The Libyan Department of Geological Surveys reports that the route crosses varied terrain, from rock plateaus to soft dunes, rising from 10 to over 900 feet above sea level. This requires dozens of pump stations and precise elevation planning. Funding remains a concern. Although initial investment has been secured through state and regional partnerships, the total cost is still unconfirmed. Just as Libya moved forward with Phase 5 of the Great Man-Made River, offering long-awaited hope to underserved regions, nature delivered a devastating blow. In a country where many still struggle for drinking water, others suddenly face the opposite crisis: flooding from below. In late 2023, the coastal city of Zliten, located east of Tripoli, experienced rising groundwater levels that led to months of inland flooding. Streets turned into shallow swamps, palm groves were submerged, and homes were overtaken by stagnant, mosquito-ridden pools. According to a joint report by the Libyan Ministry of Environment and the World Health Organization, the cause was linked to unmanaged infrastructure leaks, compounded by failing sewers and poor drainage, an avoidable disaster born of neglect. Then, in September 2023, Libya faced its worst natural catastrophe in modern memory. Storm Daniel, a powerful Mediterranean cyclone, struck the eastern coast with historic force. In just a few hours, it unleashed more rain than some regions receive in an entire year. Two aging dams above Derna collapsed under the pressure. The impact was catastrophic: more than 4,000 confirmed dead, nearly 10,000 missing, and entire neighborhoods swept into the sea. The United Nations called it one of the deadliest Mediterranean floods on record, and the World Weather Attribution Group classified it as a once-in-600-year event. And this, in one of the world's driest nations. Libya now stands at a breaking point, trapped between worsening droughts and sudden, deadly floods. With climate change accelerating, the country's challenge is no longer just about managing scarcity. It's about surviving extremes. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Your support means a lot to us. Click on the video that appears on your screen right now. I hope you'll love this content. Comment below about the next topic you'd like to see featured on our channel. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
Thanks for being with us. Leave a comment, like to show your support, and remember to hit that subscribe button for more exciting videos. See you next time.